Hi, this is Glenn Hughes, and you're watching South Detroit Soundhouse.
Hey all, welcome to South Detroit Soundhouse. My name is Randy Falsetta, and with us today we have the amazing talent of Glenn Hughes. And not only do we have Glenn Hughes, but it's his birthday. Happy birthday,
It is.
Glenn.
Thank you, Randy. Nice to meet you.
It is such an honor for us to have you here,
Thank
really.
you.
And we have hopefully some questions that are going to intrigue you
I
and
hope.
intrigue our audiences, and let them know what you're up to these days. So,
Thanks.
First off, how's the tour going?
Excellent. This is my first American tour solo. It's crazy to say that to you because I've done so much in my career. Let's just say that it was time for me to concentrate on the country I've been living in for 43 years, and we decided we would start working every market. It's going to take, a couple of years to get to where we want to be, but there'll be 2 or 3 tours a year, starting now. So things are going really well.
Good, good. Well, there was, from my understanding, a rescheduling due to some surgery. Can
Yeah.
you just briefly touch on that?
In December 11th, I had a knee replacement on the left knee. On January the 14th, on the right knee. We figured, my doctors, kind of said it's going to take between 3 to 4 months. But in reality, come February, I wasn't healing well enough, and I wasn't even in physical therapy. So we figured we had to postpone. It wouldn't have been appropriate for me to have been on my feet until I was actually ready, because I had to relearn how to walk again.
Wow.
For anyone out there that's had any surgeries on their knees or hips knows what I'm talking about. So I had to relearn how to walk. In fact, when I did the Hall of Fame, they had TV cameras watching us walk from the floor upstairs. I asked them if they could edit that out because I couldn't walk on the stage, so
Okay.
it was difficult. But
No doubt.
I'm all good now.
Yeah. Okay. Is that just from the wear and tear of the rock and roll lifestyle?
Let's just say that when I got out of the fast lane in 1991, I changed my silly stuff into, I'm a cardio nut. And I ran like Forrest Gump. I ran across America. And my doctors told me 10, 15 years ago that I was going to have problems. And I live on the beach, but I run on the pavement. Okay. I'm a bit of a freak for the dopamine level, so hence me having new knees.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're not right in Detroit proper, but we're close.
Yeah.
I read somewhere or heard somewhere on the internet that UK is your home, but Detroit is where your soul is. Is that true?
I said, I didn't have any set speech at the Hall of Fame. I walked onto the stage, and I think I said something like, I was born in the United Kingdom, but my soul was born in Detroit. Because as even a preteen, I was into the Beatles. Then all of a sudden, Tamla Motown came into my life. If you know anything about me, you know that I'm a British man, grew up on rock music, but I'm very much influenced by what was coming out of Detroit. And Stevie Wonder's been a friend of mine for over 40 years, etc., etc. So this is the area for me that I learned how to breathe, and how to, so many artists from this neck of the woods meant so much to me, and still do.
Yeah. Do you think that also the fans catch on quicker here? I've heard the stories of other bands like Kiss when they recorded the live album, things like that. Like they just said the fans caught on quicker.
Well, my band Trapeze were quite popular here. And then my first show with Deep Purple was Cobo Hall, 2 nights at Cobo Hall. So I have a great recollection of what Detroit was like for me. Again, as a 13, 14-year-old kid, knowing so much about, American music from Detroit.
Right.
So this is a real honor for me to be playing here. And this tour is all about clubs and playing at packed houses and getting to meet my fans and giving back the love they've been freely given to me.
Wow, well said. Well, what we'd really like to talk about, aside from yourself playing tonight, is this extraordinary album that's going to be dropped on everybody October, November, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you get into how close can you get to like?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to reveal everything, but how
No,
close can you get?
only
to,
because the record
Yeah.
company are just now getting to
Right.
hear it. It's the first solo album I've done in 8 years, due to the fact I've been with Black Country, doing 3 or 4 albums with them and California Breed. So now I've gone back to being a solo artist, and the last album I made was really, really groovy funky, really super, super groovy funky, and that was great. But the but is that when you've got a catalog of great rock stuff, an artist can't, switch horses in midstream, if you will. So let's just say that this new album is more of a return to a hard rock blend with a lot of groove to it, huge grooves. Chad's playing on the album, of course,
Yep.
and it's back to trapeze kind of real swaggery rock music, and it's a return for me of I would consider to be a really heavy record.
Okay. You had also said somewhere that though you've had so many projects and so many albums and things like that, you wanted every project to sound different than.
I've never repeated myself.
Right. So how is there some studio thing that
Yeah.
you did something differently? What was the approach?
It's
this time?
writing. I never rewrote Burn. I've never rewrote You Keep On Moving or Black Country. I've never rewrote. A lot of bands, bless them, are in a genre where they kind of keep writing the same style, which is their style, which is great. But it's a blessing and a curse for me, because I've been given a gift to, and I say a gift, it really is a gift, to write in many genres of music, or in the circle of what I consider to be rock music,
Right. Do you prefer the solo experience of writing and performing to the band experience, or is it?
It's sometimes easy for me to do it in solo, because I do write the majority of songs even within bands. I am kind of the lead writer. I've just been very blessed to work with other people that write with me that are, we get along well. But this new album for me, as it's the first album in 8 years, has been a resurgence of how it started as a teenager. Not being afraid to write exactly what I felt was appropriate,
Right.
lyrically and musically. And again, the gift has been so much received that I freely give it back. But this album is the tip of the hat to my rock fan base, because
is
they've
it?
been so great with me.
Wow. Well, was there an inspiration? Can I just touch briefly on inspirations for this album? Was
Well,
it anything in particular?
I think people know that 3 years ago today, 3 years ago today on my birthday, I had open heart surgery.
Right.
And since then, I've been coming to terms with life and death and what happens in between. And I'm sensitive, and I keep talking about love, and I keep talking about music is the healer. And I've really come around to, you just never know when your time is up.
Right. That is so
I've been
true.
so many surgeries with my knees, and it's like, I'm just really grateful to be here. And I write about the human condition. I don't write about elves and dwarves and witches and stuff. I don't write about those things.
Right.
I write about the human condition, because everybody has a life, and they go through the struggles. The 7 deadly sins. I mean,
Right.
what's not to write about that?
Right.
It encompasses everything, and I had to write about to combat 7 deadly sins. And I do write a lot about love in a dark way as well. I don't write about shagging girls anymore. I mean, it's
We're past that.
past long. But my music has a lot of swagger, and it might make people want to have sex, but I don't really sing about it.
If we can just touch briefly upon the Deep Purple days, I know don't want to get into it too much, but there was another thing I've read. I've done some research, obviously, but there was a thing about Paul Rodgers joining at the time that you were
Yeah.
considering joining, and that was the catalyst to you joining the band, and then it never came to fruition with him, but you stayed.
I take you back to the day I was asked to join. I was in a room with Richie, John, Ian Pace, and the management. And I had no idea they were going to ask me to play bass. Ian Gillan was leaving the band, and I thought, okay, I'm a lead singer in Trapeze. I thought, okay, well, they're going to ask me to sing. And they said, no, we want you to play bass. And I said, well, I was going to say no.
Wow.
Because I was 21 and Trapeze was setting America on fire in certain areas. We were playing 7,000 seats a night, selling out. And they said, we want you to play bass and we're going to ask Paul Roy just to sing. And I said, well, wait a minute. One of the greatest singers in the world. My brain said, well, what the opportunity would be if I could actually use my voice with his. And that's the way it started out, possibility of Paul and I singing together. And that's exactly what they had in mind. Richie wanted to not duplicate having Gillan and Glover. He wanted to have two singers, one playing bass and one fronting,
Right.
I thought it was a very bold move to do that. Paul's a good friend of mine. I was encouraged to say yes because I was not going to not join if I couldn't sing at all. I just couldn't do it. I'm a singer, everybody knows that. So the good news is that I joined. It went everywhere, and the internet wasn't around back then, but it went all through the world. I joined the band. Then Paul Rodgers formed Bad Company.
Right.
So there I am, a lead singing bass player. They had nobody else. So
Right.
we went about auditioning or looking for a singer, and we had a couple of hundred audition tapes, and we only auditioned one guy, David Coverdale.
Right.
And then he got the gig.
And there's history. Just one quick question for you, one last one. I know we're short on time. Were you happy with the rock and roll induction? Was there anything you would have changed differently?
The Hall of Fame for me was a moment where when David and I were included into the. Remember, we had no idea who was going to be inducted,
Right.
because certain people didn't get inducted,
Right.
I think David and I, from all intents and purposes, got inducted because Burn was a big record, and I think it was another level of Purple. After Mark II was a huge success.
Right.
Anything coming after Mark II could have really took a nosedive completely, or it didn't do that. It was another formative Deep Purple.
Right.
David and I coming in. David, who was completely new, and we were actually, when we were making Burn, we were really a band. We were 5 guys making a record, and I think it showed that we were a real band again.
Right. Wow. Again, that's history, right? But we're short on time, and we just want to say thank you so much, especially
welcome.
not only for coming out, but coming out on your birthday. And I hope the rest of your night is awesome. I hope
do
the
too.
fans are incredible tonight. And again, all the best
I'm
on
grateful.
the tour.
I'm
All
grateful.
the best on the tour. Thank you
so
much.
Thank you so much. Peace.
Once again, thanks for tuning in to South Detroit Soundhouse. My name is Randy Falsetta, and we'll see you on the next chat.
Can we do one more? Just keep your head tilted down a little bit because of this light.
He's very...
Like this?
No,